campaign. HRC has been a formidable force in the fight for equality, and you've been a great partner to President Obama over the past 2 years during some very tough battles. So thank you for everyone who's in this room supporting HRC. Hi, Hillary. I see another friend. Together, we're fighting to build a fairer and freer nation. Together, we're working towards the day when no one in this country is treated like a second-class citizen, not by our laws and not by any of our communities. That's why the President asked me to come here tonight, to carry a message to each of you on his behalf. Recently, we have all been shocked and heartbroken by the deaths of several young people who have been harassed and bullied for being openly gay or because people thought that they were gay. It is a terrible tragedy, and it has turned a harsh spotlight on an issue that often doesn't get the attention that it deserves: the struggles of LGBT youth, the enormous pain that too many experience as a result of bullying, and the desperate, tragic decision by some young people who feel that their only recourse is to take their own lives. I say this to you this evening as an advisor to the President, but I also say this to you from my heart as a mother. I cannot begin to fathom the pain of the terrible grief. The worst nightmare of any parent is losing a child. There just is no greater loss. And we have lost too many in just the past few months. Asher, Billy, Seth, Tyler, Justin. And I want to particularly express my deepest condolences to Tammy Aaberg, Justin's mom, and Andrew, Justin's brother, who are here tonight and who I had a chance to visit with for a moment backstage. Could you please both stand for a second and let us honor your courage? We stand to recognize the courage that these two people and their family have shown by willing so soon to share the story of Justin and honor his memory in the hope that no other mother or father or brother or sister will have to know their pain. For as you see, we all want to protect our children. We want to be there for our children. And the idea that a young man or a woman, in some cases barely teenagers, just at the start of life, would feel so hopeless and tormented as to want to end their own life saddens us deeply. Young people are our future. They need our guidance. They need our support. And this responsibility is far too great to be shouldered by parents alone. Tammy, you're a terrific mom. I could tell it just in the few minutes we were together. And to have Andrew at your side traveling, I know what a terrific brother he was. And you supported Justin, and he felt safe at home. But our whole society has to step up to reaffirm our collective obligation to all of our children. It rests on all of us, not just the family. This includes the responsibility to instill in young people respect for one another. And we adults should be setting examples of mutual regard and civility to ourselves. No young person should have to endure a life of relentless taunts and harassment just because they're gay. And on behalf of President Obama, I want to make clear that this administration is firmly committed to working with you and all other advocates, for we have to ensure that we are creating an environment in our schools and in our communities and in our country that is safe for every person, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. Under Secretary Duncan's leadership, the Department of Education is fundamentally changing the way that we're looking at bullying. And they're working on how we can do a better job of protecting vulnerable young people. That's why last year we created a new federal task force solely on bullying. And just this August, we held the first National Bullying Summit, bringing experts and advocates, including folks from HRC and GLSEN, to begin mapping a plan to tackle this issue. We are working to replicate proven programs that have helped schools cut down on bullying, and we must disprove the myth that bullying is an unavoidable fact of life for young people. It's not. The Department of Education has reinvigorated the Office of Civil Rights to help stop harassment in our schools based on race, based on disability, based on sex, and bullying of LGBT young people who may not conform to gender norms. The Department of Health and Human Services, under Kathleen Sebelius, has announced an unprecedented National Action Alliance for Suicide Prevention. This alliance brings together a wide range of public and private partners, and it's going to make sure that people have access to the help and to the resources that they need when they are in crisis. One of the specific goals is to prevent suicide in at-risk groups, including LGBT youth. We must also recognize that creating a safe environment for our youth also means doing more for young people who are forced to leave their homes. For the first time, we have a national strategy to fight homelessness. It specifically addresses the needs of LGBT youth who are living on the streets because they have been ostracized by their families, their friends, and their community. This includes figuring out whether it's possible for these children to return home. And if they can't, then they have to have a safe and nurturing alternative. So when it comes to putting a stop to the bullying and the harassment of our LGBT youth, we're not going to let up. We're going to stand with you. We're going to stand with every single person in this country who deserves the chance to grow up, to learn, to have fun, to play, to laugh, and live their lives without a constant threat of violence or ridicule. Because, you see, although many turn a blind eye and they think that bullying is a harmless rite of passage, words matter. Bullying is simply cruel, it's abusive, and it needs to be stopped now. And there's terrific work going on the ground by HRC, by GLSEN, by PFLAG, by the National Youth Advocacy Coalition, the Matthew Shepard Foundation, the Trevor Project, and many, many, many organizations that are crucial in this fight. The tragic loss of Seth, Tyler, Asher, Billy, and Justin, and countless others whose names we do not know, strikes at the heart of our values as Americans and our sense of humanity. We all have an obligation to engage in the broader struggle to build a more perfect union, a nation where each of us is free to pursue our own version of happiness. And building that perfect union means fighting discrimination in all of its forms, whether it's in our schools, in our workplace, in our streets, in our community organizations, in our houses of worship, in our moments of greatest need. I was so proud when President Obama signed a directive to make sure that hospitals participating in Medicare, most hospitals that is, allow gay and lesbian partners the same visitation rights as straight partners. It seems so obvious. And we've made it clear that under the Family Medical Leave Act, LGBT families are entitled to the same rights as anyone else to take leave in order to care for their children. Building a more perfect union means making sure that no one is ever afraid to walk down the street and hold the hands of a person that he or she loves. And after a long and tough fight, as Joe mentioned, with Judy Shepard at his side, President Obama marked the passage of the Matthew Shepard Hates Crime Act.